Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing the Beauty Brands Superstar tag that was started by Stephanie Marie. If you guys are interested in watching her original tag video or checking out her channel at all, I will leave it linked below in the description box for you. In today's video, I'm going to be covering more prestige or high-end brands, and then next week I will be doing a drugstore version. So basically, I'm just going to be talking about specific brands, and if you're just starting out in that brand or if you don't own anything from that brand, what are the first products or what are the standout superstar products from that brand that I would recommend. So if you guys are interested in hearing a little bit about some of my favorite prestige brands and some of my favorite products from them, then just keep watching. Alright guys, so I want to kick it off with Marc Jacobs, and I have two products from Marc Jacobs currently to recommend to you guys. The first are their bronzers. Obviously, I'm sure you guys have heard about the Tantastic bronzer before. I absolutely love this bronzer, and they are making this shade permanent to their line. The white and rose gold packaging, I believe, is limited edition, but as far as I know, the actual shade Tantastic is going to become permanent to their line. Now, these are $49. Obviously, Marc Jacobs is a more expensive brand, but I think that they're totally worth it. You are getting a ton of product. I know you probably won't even ever go through it, but it's a beautiful, buttery, easy to work with, easy to blend formula. I feel like you can never get too heavy-handed with this bronzer. It just blends out so easily, and I absolutely love it. The other bronzer that I have from them is in the shade Tantric. I also like this one. I picked this up last year when I couldn't get my hands on the Tantastic bronzer. I like this one. It's just a little bit more warm toned and a little bit more orangey than the Tantastic. I definitely prefer this shade to this shade, but overall their bronzer formula is absolutely phenomenal. And then I would also recommend picking up some of the Marc Jacobs highliner pens, or some of the Marc Jacobs highliner eyeliners. These have a really nice creamy formula. They are super easy to apply, and they last a really long time. I have really watery waterline. I have really watery eyes, so I find it really hard to find. Those are the two shades that I own. So I find it really hard to find eyeliners that actually last a while in my waterline, but these definitely do. Again, these are a little bit more expensive. They're $28, so if you can wait to get them at a discount, I definitely would. The two shades that I have are the shade Mist Me, which is this like pastel purple, and then I also have this like wine color in the shade, where's the shade name? Jazzberry. So the highliners and their bronzers are absolutely phenomenal, and the two products that I would recommend checking out first are the Beauty Brand Superstars in that line. Next up, I wanted to talk about Fenty Beauty. Now I haven't tried a ton from the Fenty Beauty line. In fact, I've only tried the two products that I'm going to mention to you, but I love these products so much. The first is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb Lip Gloss. I actually have it on my lips today over lipstick. This is such a universally flattering shade. It's such an awesome formula. It's not sticky, it's not uncomfortable. I don't always love glosses just because I feel like I get really irritated by like the stickiness, but I don't find that at all with this, and it's super easy to reapply. It's not a sticky formula. It's such a good formula, such a great gloss. It smells really nice, and again, this will work with so many different looks. It's such a universal shade, so absolutely love this. And then I also love the Fenty Beauty Kilowatt highlighters. I picked up two of the summer collection ones that I'm honestly not going to use as a highlighter. I'll probably use these on my eyes, but I just had to have these, even just like for my makeup collection. This is in 7-Day Weekend and Poolside, and then this one is in Sandcastle and Minted Mojito. These are awesome. I actually used this gold Sandcastle shade as an inner corner highlight today. Absolutely loved it. And then in the more normal highlights, I have the Girl Next Door and Chic Freak, which looks like this. It's more like pink toned, which I really like, especially for the summertime. I actually have this as a highlight today. And then I also have the Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal highlight. I absolutely am obsessed with this. I've actually used a fair amount of this, and I find, like, I can actually tell I've used this. I find highlighters, it never really looks like you've used it, but I've used so much of this that I can actually tell that I've used it. So if you guys haven't checked out Fenty Beauty, I would definitely recommend their Kilowatt highlighters, as well as the Gloss Bomb lip gloss. Another brand, I have 2 products to recommend. This is from Dior. First and foremost, you gotta try the Dior Forever Skin. This is my favorite foundation of all time. This literally blends itself out, I swear. It is such a beautiful natural formula, but it can definitely be built up to a full coverage. I don't know what else to say about this foundation. I love this. I would be devastated if this ever went discontinued, and I will forever purchase this. And then I also absolutely love the Dior highlights. I have mine in the shade 2, which, does it have a name? No, I don't think so. It's just in the shade 2, which is like their silvery pink one. I actually really like silvery pink highlights for my skin tone personally. The only time I don't really tend to wear them is the summertime, but I also want to pick up, I think they have like 01 Nude, which I also have had my eye on, but they're $56 highlights, so I'm kind of like, eh. But it's such a luxurious formula, super easy to blend. It just looks so natural on the skin. I absolutely am obsessed with their highlights. Okay, moving on to Hourglass Cosmetics. I've liked almost everything I've tried from Hourglass. The only thing I haven't liked is their stick foundation that everyone else seems to love. I would highly recommend checking out their Veil Mineral Primer. Their Veil Mineral Primer. I just don't have one personally right now, but it's such a beautiful primer. I love that primer. And then I also love their powder products. So first I want to show this finishing powder. This is in the shade Luminous Light. This is a beautiful finishing powder. You can actually use this as a highlight, like a subtle highlight if you want to as well. But I love the luminosity that this gives to the face. I definitely will repurchase this when I finish this. I love their highlights. I have 2 full-size highlights. This is in the shade Euphoric Strobe. I have this over that Fenty highlight today. And then I also have the shade Incandescent Strobe, which is this right here, which again is kind of like a pinky champagne. Now these are pretty powdery highlights, but I feel like these just look like they just melt into the skin, and they just look almost like a wet, sweaty, but like in a sexual way. Like, these are beautiful highlights that I love. I also have their highlighting palette, their Ambient Strobe Light palette. Love this. Seriously, their highlight formula is top notch, you guys. And then I also wanted to mention their blushes. I have both formulas. So this is in Euphoric Fusion. This is their Ambient Strobing Blush. And this just gives a very beautiful flush to the cheeks, but it's also very luminous as well, which I personally like. And then I have the Mini in Mood Exposure, which is their ambient lighting blush, not the luminous version. This is a beautiful shade for the fall. It's more of like a mauve toned shade, but I like that they mix, like, I don't know, mix in, I feel like some of their like ambient powder, because I just feel like it just mixes, it's just, their products are so good, you guys. Alright guys, next up I have Anastasia Beverly Hills to talk about, and honestly I love that brand so much. I feel like I almost collect just everything that they come out with, so I pretty much want to recommend everything. The first is obviously their highlights. I have the Emrezi one right here, which I absolutely love, and then I have just about every glow kit that they have ever come out with. I just like, if you can get your hands on the Emrezi highlight, I would highly recommend this, but like, you gotta get a glow kit because it's just such a staple to ABH, and they're just such high quality and just such beautiful, beautiful, beautiful highlights. Like, I digress. Then I also really do like their new bronzers. I know these have kind of been a hit or miss with people. I have mine in the shade Tawny. It looks like this. These have a little bit more of like, they pull a little bit more red, but I don't know, it works for me. I really do like their bronzer formula. It's very, very buttery and easy to work with, easy to blend. This one I do feel like you can end up going a little bit heavy-handed with, so do be careful about that, but I would definitely recommend these as well. And then finally, I love the ABH palettes as well as their single shadows. I have a couple single shadows right here. These are actually shimmer shadows. I don't have any single matte shadows by ABH, but I do plan to pick some up this holiday season when they're like 40 or 50% off. I have Pink Champagne, Metal, and then Glisten right here, and these, her shimmer shades are just so gorgeous. Absolutely love those. And then her palettes, I have Modern Renaissance, Subculture, Prism, as well as Soft Glam. I love these. I would probably recommend Soft Glam is probably my personal favorite just because I feel like it's the easiest to work with. The tones are just more my tones. I love this palette, but I really do actually like all of her palettes. I actually enjoyed Subculture as well. And then I also have the Master Palette by Mario. I hate to talk about this because I know it was limited edition, but I am obsessed with this palette. Like, I love this palette so much. So, love basically everything from Anastasia Beverly Hills. You really can't go wrong with the brand, I swear. And then the last brand that I have to talk about today is Becca Cosmetics. Becca is another one of my favorite brands. I don't necessarily collect everything from Becca, but I do own a lot from them. The 3 products that I want to mention to you that are like my standout superstars from their line are their powdered face products. Their highlights are top notch. Again, I absolutely love their highlights. I have 4 of them. I have 2 of their like limited edition, not limited edition ones, and then I also have Champagne Pop and Prosecco Pop. I'm sure you guys have seen and heard tons and tons about the Becca highlights, so I'm not going to say a ton about them, but they're super, again, super buttery, super easy to use, creamy. They definitely pack a punch, so if you're into a more subtle highlight, then you probably aren't going to be feeling the vibes of the Becca highlights, but if you like that glisten, you seriously, like, you cannot go wrong with the Becca highlights. Then I absolutely love the Becca bronzer formula. This is the Sunlit Bronzer in Capri Coast, which is either the lightest or the second lightest shade. Beautiful, beautiful formula. Not totally matte, gives a nice sheen to the cheeks, which I actually really like, especially for the spring and summertime. Kind of gives you like that summer glow. Really, really love their bronzers. Would highly recommend checking this out. I definitely like the Becca bronzer over the ABH bronzer, but the ABH bronzer is matte, whereas this has a sheen, so that could be why, you know, but both are good. And then finally, the Becca blushes. I own 5. Love the Becca blushes. My 2 favorites would probably be, I gotta find them here, Flower Child, which is just like a staple, beautiful pink with a sheen. So beautiful for the summertime. And then I also like Songbird and Wild Honey. They're very, very similar. So this is Songbird, this is Wild Honey. Songbird is just a little bit, has more of a sheen, and then Wild Honey just is like a little bit more like bronzy tan. I don't know if you'll be able to see if I swatch them. Songbird has more of like an orangey glisten to it. They actually don't, you probably won't be able to tell with my lights. They're right here. Songbird is definitely a little bit more pigmented and darker. They look nothing alike now that they're swatched. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, love them both. Love all of the Becca blushes. I think they're totally, totally worth the investment. They are super pigmented, so you have to go light-handed with them, or you can get super pigmented really quick. So they're not necessarily like totally beginner friendly, but once you get the hang of them, they're just so beautiful. So after that, you guys, that is going to conclude my prestige brand superstars. I do have more brands that I wanted to talk about in the prestige realm of things. So if you guys are interested in seeing another video like this, let me know in the comment box below. Like I said, my drugstore version of this will be up next week. Don't forget to check out Stephanie Marie's channel, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do so before you go. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.